these companies and these people are locked in a race. We don't have to build superhuman general purpose AI. Who's going to decide whether we do it or not? Well, it's kind of these guys.
A lot of people think they're Sisyphus, but actually they're the fuck-ass boulder. If you are one of the people who are like, I must race for AGI, you're the fuck-ass boulder. You are the person who is going to kill everyone. I split the actors into 5 groups. The first are the utopists. So they believe they must build AGI because if they do it, they can use this to build utopia.
You can imagine a world where a radically better future becomes quite possible. You have a data center here that is discovering a cure for cancer, a data center there that's making the best entertainment ever, a data center here that's helping you find your future husband or wife. This one is building rockets and helping you colonize space. This one is helping to solve the climate crisis.
The second group is big tech. So these are ruthless corporations. These are the ones that are now driving most of the actual resources of the race. Big tech is more evil, but it's more predictable. I think the utopians are the biggest problem. Because utopia is so good that it justifies anything.
And we're very excited about robots.
The third group is the accelerationists. If there's no way that technology can be bad, all technology must be good, it must be built, and anything that is against the building of new technology must be bad. The fourth group is the zealots. They want humanity to be replaced, either because AI is like a superior species or because humanity is evil and deserves to die. There are some pretty prominent people in this camp you might not expect, like Larry Page, founder of Google. When Elon Musk said, hey, he doesn't want AI to eradicate humans, Larry Page said he's being a speciesist.
You know, and at one point he called me a speciesist for being pro-human. And I'm like, well, what team are you on, Larry?
That is such a crazy fact that actually happened in reality. If you saw this in a movie, that's not real. Like, that didn't actually happen.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit in
Should
this.
the human race survive?
Yes.
Okay.
But we want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind.
And the fifth group is just opportunists. They come along whenever there's power and money to be had. Before this, they were on blockchain. Now they're here. Yeah, fair enough. I get it. You know, hustle's a hustle. Most bad things happen for systemic reasons. Look, I'm German. Most Germans are and were fine people, but bad systems lead to bad outcomes. And this is a systemic problem. Every individual actor is incentivized to do evil. If the CEO of a big oil company came up to me and he was like, I don't really think climate change is a big problem. Yeah, duh. You were selected to not care about this. Like, otherwise you wouldn't be the CEO of Oil Corp. And there's kind of a similar selection effect that happens here as well. Sam Altman in 2015, I believe, wrote a blog post where he talked about how superintelligence poses the gravest risk to humanity's survival. Senator Blumenthal quoted this exact line. I assume by survival you mean jobs. Did Sam Altman then correct him and be like, no, Senator? Sam Altman said, yes, of course, Senator. That's exactly what I meant.
And I'm going to quote, development of superhuman machine intelligence is probably the greatest threat to the continued existence of humanity. You may have had in mind the effect on jobs. Really, my biggest nightmare.
I believe that there will be far greater jobs on the other side of this.
What was happening right now is the exact same thing that happened with big tobacco. There are companies that think there's power and there is money to be had, and they want to delay any response to this. This is exactly what is happening right now. There is no way that a corporation wants to actually get regulated. They want holistic regulation. Have you considered? We should first consider. We don't want to act too hastily. All the evidence of lung cancer from smoking is not in yet. We should do more evaluations of lung cancer before we go to regulation. This is the playbook, which is called fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The way FUD works is you don't directly counter, you just confuse everybody. You just stall for time. Recently, there has been an emergent faction who've recently been pushing what they themselves have called the Entente Strategy. The Entente Strategy is basically try to gaslight, confuse, and lie to the US government. The US must race to AGI before China gets it. This is an escalation, and this is extremely dangerous.
America is the country that started the AI race, and as President of the United States, I'm here today to declare that America is going to win it. We're going to work hard, we're going to win it.
It's true that there is a race happening with China, but the problem is that it's a race to the death, to the end. Funnily enough, there is a historical parallel. So in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan announced his Strategic Defense Initiative. Proponents of SDI literally argued that they could win a nuclear war and that we should. They literally argued that we build a perfect nuclear defense system and then we nuke the Soviets.
We could intercept and destroy strategic ballistic missiles before they reached our own soil or that of our allies.
The thing that pushed against this was a coalition of scientists, civil groups, etc., called the Détente. The Détente basically argued, no, you can't win a nuclear war. Even if one were to nuke the Soviets, you still get nuclear winter and everyone loses. So there is no winning strategy.
If we were so foolish as to go ahead with it, we would be far less safe.
You can't win a nuclear war. Everyone loses. And the same thing is happening with AGI right now. You can't win an AGI arms race. The only winner is AGI. It's like, we don't have a choice. If we race to AGI and we die, well, not our fault. Nothing we could have done. The problem isn't that we know how to build a safe AGI, and it's just a question of who gets to press the button. The problem is AGI kills everybody. And if you race to the bottom, you build AGI as fast as possible, there will be no safety, there will be no alignment, there will be no American AGI. That's not what's going to happen. It's just going to be unaligned AGI. Okay, you're in a race, so what the hell do you do? The main thing you should do is stop, drop, and catch fire. You should be like, help, 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 I'm in a race, help, help, help. Like, you should go to the government, the UN, every newspaper that will listen to you. Help, 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 help. We're in this terrible situation. I can't get out. We need to get out of this together. This is what you would do if you actually want to stop the race. If China races to AGI, we die. If we then also race to AGI, we just die marginally faster. This doesn't help. One of the core strange things about AI is that it's grown, not written. It's not that you write line by line the codes of what your AI does. It's more like you have a huge pile of data and you grow a program on top of this data. But like, we don't really understand these programs. They do strange things all the time that we don't understand or that we don't know how to control. In normal software, as you add more features to your software, as you make it more powerful, your program gets more and more complex. And usually eventually you will reach some limit and then your program just like freezes or it collapses and just becomes unmaintainable. There's a very funny story, a guy on Hacker News. He talks about how the code base of the Oracle database is just one of the worst things known to man. 20 million lines, poorly documented, everything interacts with everything. There is no way Oracle could take this code base and pragmatically actually find all the bugs. It just can't be done. It's too hard. And the punchline is, of course, is that AI is developed like this too, but worse. Is that AI, you don't even have a code base. You have a neural network and there's no tests. Sometimes we run evals, but evals are not tests. It's not like we take apart all the individual functions. No, it's all a big neural network. But the crazy thing is that AI allows you to build software in these terrible, terrible ways while still making it very powerful. The Oracle database, you can't add crazy new features. With GPT-4, well, just throw more data at it. Just get more GPUs, bro. But people talk about stuff like, oh, America will build good AGI that makes the good future. They're saying we're going to solve all the problems, our institutions, our governments, all of these problems using software, and there will be no bugs. That's insane. Look at ChatGPT, it's really smart, we don't have this problem. ChatGPT is very smart, but they're not literally human level. I can put a human as a CEO of a company and it works. You can't currently do that with ChatGPT yet. Many of the tasks a CEO do can now be automated by a ChatGPT, but it's not 100% yet. Very importantly, I don't think intelligence is something magical. Intelligence is made of smaller parts. The way I run my company is composed of smaller tasks. I need to talk to people, I need to reason about people's mental states, I need to reason about the economy, I need to reason about products, but all these things are tasks. They can be understood, they can be automated. As we get to more and more general systems with longer and longer memories, slowly but surely, eventually it will be all of them. And once you have a system to completely replace a human, you have a system that can do AI research, you have a system that can improve AI further, that you can instantly copy onto millions of GPUs, a system that never gets tired, never gets bored, that has read every book ever written, that runs tens or hundreds or thousands of times faster. The moment you have a system, one system, that is as smart as a human, you can instantly scale it up to 1,000, 1,000,000x, and you immediately will have something that is vastly smarter than humanity, and it can improve itself, they can get more power, they can develop new technology. This will be a complete step change, and this can happen extremely quickly. So for me, AGI is defined as a system that can do everything a human could. Once we have one such system, we will get ASI, which defines a system that is smarter than all of humanity in short order, like I think 6 months or less. If I told you that OpenAI just announced their virtual humans program, where they are going to release 80 billion virtual humans onto the net next week, would you feel good about this? Could we even guarantee they wouldn't immediately declare war on us? And it's going to be worse than that. These are not going to be humans. These are going to be weird alien machines, have all these weird bugs that are being built by for-profit corporations to make them profit. Like, these are being built by sociopathic entities to maximize sociopathic functions. If one human figures out something, that doesn't mean humanity knows it. With AI, it's different. if one AI figures something out, all AIs can know it in a second. It will get all of these superpowers for free. It will be able to copy itself. It will be able to run at faster speed. It will have access to, vast memory banks. If I just had like a guy who works 24/7, never sleeps, never gets tired, and never gets distracted, this is already by far the smartest thing on the planet. What we're also seeing right now with like robotics is we're seeing this massive revolution in foundation models for robotics. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, people were like, robotics, impossible. And now we just like take language models, train them on data, and then ask them to do things, and they do. For me, like, I look at intelligence, it's made of all these little parts. All these little parts, systems keep getting better at. I look around the world, more and more jobs get automated by these things. You could ask the question, assuming we align AGI, will I have a job? A lot of employment is not about skills. It's about responsibility. I'm not saying that like lawyers or doctors don't do skilled labor, but one of the reasons they get high salaries is they're responsible. You're paying them to be at fault if something goes wrong. Currently, AIs cannot do this. Skilled labor that can be performed on a computer is under threat. Things that are based on authority or responsibility will, at least in the short term, benefit. And I expect all of this will be completely irrelevant once AGI arrives. Once an ASI system exists, humanity is no longer relevant. If you have solved the problem of how to get your human values causally through an ASI, you have solved the alignment problem. That is the alignment problem. One question is, why is alignment hard? Alignment could be an iterative problem. There is a way to solve alignment iteratively, but it sure as fuck doesn't look like, let's build the biggest model we can as fast as possible before China doesn't just yeet it out onto the world. If it was that every single time a new AI system is built, everyone's like, all right guys, shut down all the GPUs until we've understood every single neuron, until we have a formal theory of how everything works, and then after we've understood every single part, then we build the next AI. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that would work. When you are working on a technology which could blow you up, if you want to actually succeed at that, you have to be very, very sure that every experiment you do will not blow you up. Otherwise, you blow up. If you look at the actual things being done, it's not science, it's not engineering. Most of the work at these labs is of the form, my AI does something I don't like, I hit it with a stick. This is cute. The level of reliability you need when you're dealing with an ASI scenario is just exponentially higher. And it's kind of like the rocket problem. So if you went back to, the Middle Ages and you told people, oh, in the future we went to the moon, and they said, oh, we did it using a special ladder, they'll be like, all right, yep. You said we did a rocket, they'll be like, what are you talking about? That word doesn't even exist in our language. The same thing applies to AI. Most of what we're doing right now is building ladders. We're hitting it with sticks, but this will not structurally get you to a point, safe at a level that you would entrust them with, like, say, ASI level control over reality. Well, the most common form of these like iterative alignment proposals that people make is something like, we give the machines the right feedback, that things are good or bad, we can steer them towards the directions that we want. I already reject this premise. Have you heard of the concept of lying? Have you met another intelligent, even like a chimp, a dog? Dogs know how to lie, if they can get more treats out of you. The second premise is that this is sufficient for an ASI. Is that if we have an ASI that's as aligned as ChatGPT, that's fine. And this is just like obviously blatantly not true to me. This is a much more complex scenario where there's much more on the line. You're saying you want to solve all of the problems that all of our institutions throughout all of history have tried to solve using software with that level of bugs. No, you're not. People just like think ASI is just going to be like ChatGPT, but a bit cleverer. And this is just not what we're talking about. Like, imagine if the entire US government was out to get you. Could you defend against this? No, you couldn't. You would be outmatched, outclassed. You would be tricked. You would be deceived. There would be no possible defense. Now imagine that, but like sentient and 1 billion times smarter. When AGI takeoff happens, it will mostly be very confusing. Expect that AGI takeoff will be so complex that no actual individual person will actually see everything that is happening. Market does some crazy, like weird things or not. Some new technology starts popping up in some like weird areas. We don't really know what made it. Or it's just like most people won't even realize anything's wrong until just like one day you're just like, stop existing. Do you know what is happening in Ukraine right now? There's no way. Like, it's too complex. There's too much going on. There's too much propaganda. Information is not truth. More information does not mean more truth. The common example that people always bring up is the printing press. The printing press brought science, and this is just not true. The direct result of the printing press were the witch burnings. Copernicus's revolutionary theory about the heliocentric model didn't even sell out its first edition of like 40 copies. Meanwhile, the Malleus Maleficarum sold gangbusters. The main effect of the printing press was witch burnings and the 30-Year War. Can you say social media is different? Can you say that the proximal cause of social media is more social harmony and cohesion? Every time I go on social media, there is no way for me to know whether this eloquent person responding to my arguments is a person or not. This is a huge blow to humanity. Scams have become much more sophisticated, much more mass producible. What do we do about this? For AI specifically, we're running out of time. The first thing we need to do is to buy more time. If we ever get ourselves into the scenario where an ASI exists that is not deeply controlled and aligned, it's game over. The actual things that need to be done are mostly extremely boring. Moving information around society is work, and this is the labor that needs to happen. When I talk to policymakers, it is utterly shocking how many of them have just never heard the arguments. Literally just no one sat them down and just politely and patiently explained things to them. I know a guy who has just emailed like all of his local senators and House members. Every week he emails them a summary, cold email, a summary of what's happened in AI this week. And he's gotten like 3 meetings out of this because they were like genuinely thankful. And I need people to do stuff like this. I need people to help. Talk to policymakers, talk to your friends, talk about this on social media. This is a civilizational problem. This is not a problem you or me can solve. AGI, AI is a thing that affects everybody. It affects your family, it affects your church, it affects everything. You should think about this. If you, dear listener, actually want to have a causal effect, no joke, you open an empty Google Doc, you start writing out, what do you want the future to be? And you start asking, well, what do I need to do to get there? What's currently broken? This is the job of a civilian, to build a greater civilization. Anyone listening to this, do the small things.